Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining. We are going to be going live here with Miss Sapphire here in a moment. How's everybody doing? Do me a favor and tap on that screen. Let me see if I can let me see if I can find her on here. Hopefully I can figure out how to do this. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Actually, I don't know how to do this. Hold on. I probably should have tried to figure this out before I came live. Okay, there we go. Okay. I sent Sapphire the invite to join you guys coming to hang out. Thank you, thank you. Sapphire, are you on? How do I make it a split screen? Let's see if I can do it this way. Hey, love, can you hear me? Excuse me, can you hear me? Oh my god, I see you in the comments, love. It looks like you're on here, but I want you to be like, okay, you can hear me. I want you to be like a host. It doesn't let me. How do I do this? Does anybody know how? Okay, we probably should have figured this out before. Okay, I see you in the bottom corner. Do you guys see Sapphire on here?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, dang, I could hear you. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I joined, it said like join with audio only. So maybe there's a way for me to join with video. How do I do that?
Yes.
Let's
I
see.
want to
We're
see your
we're gonna figure
beautiful
it out.
face, my darling. Let me see. No. Stay. There has to be a way where you know how there's like a split screen?
Mm-hmm.
I want your beautiful face on here.
Oh wait. Oh, it says go live. Oh wait. Did I do it?
There you are. I want do you care if it's like I would prefer if we had you like you know how I don't know if you've seen other people go live and it's like right next to each other?
Oh, maybe if you click on, let's see. So there was an option at the bottom that I clicked that said go live together. I wonder if there's options for you to change the layout.
Let's see. And if anybody knows how to do this,
Let us
we'd
know.
appreciate some help. I mean, because I can see your beautiful face, darling. Thank you. Dang. Okay, they can see you. Can you see the same comments too?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait.
You look so beautiful, love. I'm
Oh,
loving
thank
that lippy on
you. You
you.
too. I just finished up filming, so this is the only time I
Oh,
wear
did
makeup.
you? Were you filming in town?
Oh, just in my house.
Oh, nice. Oh my gosh, this is gonna drive me crazy. I don't know why it's not letting me like add you as
No, does anyone in the chat know? Oh my God, Kale! Hi! My friend Kale's in the chat.
oh, Kayla Anonymous?
Kale Anonymous. Yes.
Hi, Kayla Anonymous. Hey. Okay, this is kind of driving me nuts because I really want to have you like. I mean, I
That's
don't know if you care.
okay.
I kind of wish I could figure out how to get you on the other side of this.
On the, on the other side. I don't know. I mean, no one in the chat seems to know either. So maybe I don't know. Uh, I don't know. Is there a way to make me like a co-host instead of just a guest?
Yeah, because I clicked on co-host and
Uh-huh.
for some reason I can't find you on here, but I mean it shows that you're live, so I don't know why. Allow co-hosts receive invites from suggested live hosts. darn it, because it won't let me like search you up.
Hmm.
I wonder if you hold on. Oh no, not mirror your video. Sorry, you guys, for the technical difficulties. We see both of you. I know. I just want it to be like where we're side by side. I wonder if because this is as if you were a guest, like you're on as a guest, not as a host. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I wonder if you. Oh, okay. Hold on.
If you
It's
battle?
I'm seeing something about a panel switch to layout. I'm gonna try this really quick. Hopefully, it
Okay.
doesn't do anything.
Okay. We did it. We did it.
I look like I'm naked under here, but it's okay. Yay! I'm so excited. Yay, 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 yay. Whoop, whoop.
Hello, hello.
Okay.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, can everybody hear us? Okay. All right. All right. Yay. Okay. I'm seeing the comments. You guys, thank you so much for joining the special live. So, I kind of did a little video, sharing who Miss Sapphire is. But Sapphire, my love, take it away, Mama. Let them know who you are, my darling. Thank you for your time.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
My name is Sapphire Sandalo. I live in Los Angeles and I do a bunch of different things. Primarily, I'm a podcaster. I have a show called Stories with Sapphire, and that's how I met you. And you're going to be a guest. I'm saving you for the season finale, by the way.
Ooh, thank you.
Um, Yeah, so the podcast, and I have a YouTube channel, which is also Stories with Sapphire, where I tell scary stories and add a little bit of animation to them. That's what I was just filming right now, so that's why I look nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I also do a couple different shows for the Travel Channel. One's called Paranormal Caught on Camera, where we react to different paranormal videos. And then another show is a 6-episode miniseries called Ghost Town Terror. Streaming now on Discovery Plus. Go check it out.
Yeah, you guys go check it out. I had um I had some people, I don't know if it was on here or on Instagram, they were talking about how they found you from the old podcast where I found you too. And I was like, yeah, I know that's where I found her too. I was like,
Oh,
you guys come and join. So you guys, if you guys have any questions, drop them below. If you guys again are into podcasting, Sapphire is amazing at storytelling and she has amazing guests on her podcast. I had the privilege to record with her not too long ago. And I wanted to have you on because like I said, I'm just all the beautiful souls that I'm inspired by, Mama, and I just love your energy. I've told you this
oh.
before. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. And a lot of the times people that are just starting out on their journey, kind of like I shared and you kind of, we had this mutual experience growing up with like being attracted to like the paranormal and kind of the out of world type things. And a lot of people have experiences with that when they start out, before they start out, excuse me, on their spiritual journey. And it kind of leads them on this path here. So I'm so excited to actually ask you, since our last recording, how have things been since that last time?
Girl. Dude, uh so I don't know if you remember, but when you gave me the reading after the interview for my podcast,
Yeah.
you said that you saw a little girl in my house and you described her as having like a flower crown and a dress. And I was like, okay, that's a little weird because earlier that day I had done a meditation and the very first thing that came to my mind was a little girl with a flower crown and a dress. And I was like, okay, maybe that's just like a weird coincidence, whatever. Maybe that's like whatever. But then I believe it was last week. So every week now, I started this new thing with my Patreon members where we do a little like psychic development session and we just
I
practice like
love
doing
that.
readings on each other. Yeah, and it's just like fun. And the person who read me, and so he hadn't joined any previous sessions before, so he didn't know about the little girl. Oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah. The first thing he said, he was like, I don't know, the first thing that I saw was this little girl and she had a flower crown and this dress. And I was like, shut up, dude. Are you kidding me?
That's insane.
It was just
Oh
weird.
my
It was just
god.
weird. It
Yeah.
was really weird.
Oh my gosh. What about the other spirits that I was feeling in the home? Have you felt them or have they made a
You know,
presence?
I don't know if I told you this yet, but there was one time, this was after I met with you. I had fallen
Hmm.
asleep in the living room on the couch, and I was having this like really vivid dream where, and this happens to me all the time, where I'm dreaming from the exact perspective where I'm at, as if like if I opened my eyes, it was like nothing would change, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was laying on the couch, and then I saw this like man standing right next to the couch and like really close, so I only saw like his lower half, and he was wearing this like kind of vintage green sweater vest and green pants. I
Yeah.
remember Googling it after because I was like, what era is this? It was kind of like maybe 50s or 60s look. And then I remember I was like, that was weird. And I opened my eyes, and then my dog was sitting right there just staring at me like
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
but yeah, so that was kind of weird. But I don't know. I thought that maybe who I saw was the one of the people that you had seen.
Yeah. Did you get any word back about the briefcase or that suitcase?
No word yet. No.
So
So I
nothing.
think
That's
it's
good.
all good.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So we have one question here. And I love that you're kind of sharing this stuff too with what you're doing with your Patreon members, you guys. If you're interested in joining, go follow Sapphire. Her account should be up on here. Check out all her offerings, her Patreon, her podcast, all that good stuff. But somebody is asking in here, whoa, what was the question? Where to go? How do you tap in fully? What would you share as far as how do you tap in fully?
How do you tap in? Oh man. I guess I'm like, how do I interpret that question?
It's
Is
a
it
big question, right? It's like
right? Like, are you asking how to fully embrace like the other side or to like start things? Okay, so that's how I'm going to interpret your question. If I'm wrong,
yeah.
correct me. Um, so for a very long time, I was very afraid of experiencing anything. And I'm pretty sure that's why I never did. The first question people always ask me is like, "Ooh, what's your scary?" Or like, "You must have like had so many experiences as a child." Like, no, at least as far as I'm concerned. Like, I honestly didn't really have paranormal stuff happening to me until like the within like the last year because I made an
Mm.
active decision to be more open to it, and I've been like
Yeah.
doing um a lot of work on trying to be able to be more open and be less scared. And I
Yeah.
think the number one thing that was blocking me was my fear. And once I let go of that, it was like now I'm freaking hearing voices like all the time.
You're like, what
Like
is
I
this?
feel freaking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
But it's usually like right now it's not when I'm out like just kind of walking about in my waking world. It's still like when I'm in the that phase between sleep and awake. So I haven't like ventured off into like just walking around here and stuff yet. But yeah, so that would be my advice. If you want to like
Yes.
tap in fully, you just gotta release all of your fear. And yeah, and then things will start happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you said that, you really made a choice. You said, what, I'm gonna do whatever, my higher self or my guides leading me to do to really open up this awareness. So someone's asking, how do you let go of that fear, right? And so a lot of the things that we have to pinpoint before we can even get to that is what is it that we think that we're fearing? Because a lot of it's indoctrination, right? So a lot of us that were like we talked about this in the recording, we're Filipino women. We grew up in religious households for the most part, and we had a lot of that fear mongering fed to us as young children. So there's that fear. And then we have societal programming. So there's a lot of different things. And it's not just, it's for some people, it's easy. It's an activation that happens because it's passed down to them generationally within their DNA. They have such a strong connection to spirit. For other people, it's a little more difficult for them to do that because again, how much are you choosing for others to have that influence over your mindset of what spirit is, what can it
Yeah.
look like? There's this good bad, there's always this heaven hell type of mentality that so many of us have been grown into, if you will. And I feel like a lot of people that I work with too have that big fear. What is this? Somebody last time was on the live and asked me, what are the spirits that are in my house? And I said, ask them who they are. And they're like, I'm afraid. I'm like, but what's the difference if I ask them? I'm not the one that lives in your house. So if I find out
Yeah.
for you, you know, like just getting people to think of it that way as well. And a big part of it as well is really that fear of the unknown, right? If we feel we don't know something, of course we're going to have fear around it. So I feel like
Hmm.
sometimes just kind of deconstructing that piece to it and understanding kind of, you know, where does it stem from in the beginning, I think kind of helps people.
Oh,
um
for sure.
yeah, somebody asked, or I seen one of your videos talked about being scared of the darkness. Yeah. And you know, a lot of when we talk about the spiritual journey and then opening ourselves up when it comes to, you know, paranormal experiences or just that we've had them in the past, they're very intertwined and connected to our spiritual journey. And so in that video that they're talking about, I was talking about why are you so afraid of the dark? And a lot of people that, you know, whether you've started on your journey or not, there is a call to action to really you know, dig deep into your shadow aspects of yourself, you know, and those fears and those emotions that haven't been tapped into. And that's where a lot of fear is as well. Do you have anything you want to share on that for you and your journey, babe?
How about I think for me, what I what helped me feel a lot less afraid was getting to know more people. And so in that way, like building my spiritual community. So I knew that like I knew people who had my back no matter what, like when it comes to this type of work.
Yeah.
And also doing ancestral work because a lot of the things I focused on was very protective. So once I felt like I was protected, then I knew that there wasn't really anything for me to fear anymore. And I think that
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of people don't really focus on. Like in the paranormal reality TV world, rarely do we hear people talking about protection and things like that. It's just people running into places and screaming at
Mhm.
demons and whatever. And I'm like, can we
Yeah.
chill? Like, what are
It's
you
very
know, like,
sensationalized, right? Like that.
yeah,
Woo! Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's I think that's really important to that protection piece to it. Somebody I think asked like how do you know what's good or bad? And for my personal experience, I had to let go of good or bad. I had to think of things in a vibrational aspect. You know, we've talked about this too on the recording, kind of that energy when we're talking star family. People are like, what's star family? Talk about aliens, ETs, extraterrestrials, angel energy, very high vibrational energy sometimes can get you know, mistaken for something that is scary because it's such a high vibration that you if you are not necessarily matching it but your vibration isn't raised, it can be super overwhelming for you to be in
Mhm.
that you know, energy field, if you will. And sometimes when it's dense, it's just that heaviness. Pay attention to how your body feels because your temple, your vessel will also show you signs as to the energy as well. Do you feel anxious? Do you, you know, do you feel it in your gut? And another thing too that I talked about in a video was like your spiritual tick. I kind of shared, I didn't
Mhm.
say your name, but I talked about it in a video where everybody has their unique spiritual tick. And what I mean by that is that when you're receiving a message from spirit or you're coming into the presence of a spirit or an energy, everybody has a different one. Like the common one is the ringing of the ear or the chills, right? I don't know if
Mhm.
you want to share your tick with everybody. I kind of shared it, but I didn't say your name in my video. But if you want
Oh,
to
well,
share that
I
to everyone
appreciate
so they
that.
kind of have an idea, it's very unique too sometimes. You know, it's different for everyone.
Yeah, something that I have realized over the, I don't know, maybe like a couple months, there was actually one specific meditation that I did where I felt this like almost like dripping feeling on this side of my head, and I was like, ooh, maybe that's
Uh-huh.
just like a weird thing. And then it would keep happening like during meditation and when I would like do readings of like practice or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I have learned to
Excuse me.
connect that with ancestors. I think like this feeling specifically to me is like ancestors. So whether it's the ancestors of the person I'm reading or mine, that's what I associate that with.
I love that. I love that that you can like connect it to a certain type of energy too, right?
Mhm.
I love
Because I
that.
noticed that it would happen whenever I was doing a specific type of meditation. It doesn't happen all the
Mhm.
time. So I was like, huh, maybe there's
Right.
something there.
Yeah. Do you do you think it's more general or broad for that other one we talked about in your reading where it's in the
Oh,
back
the
in
one in
your
the back.
yeah, is
That
that one more of a
one,
general, do you feel like?
I think that one's more general. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I love that you have like different things, right? So pay attention to the way your body reacts because it's kind of weird because you're like nothing is physically touching me. So what the heck is this thing, right? It can be that can be kind of scary too, right? If you don't know, and
Yeah.
make and paying attention, because like you said, you made those connections when you were going. Listen, I'm doing this happens when I do this meditation or I'm practicing this reading with a certain someone, and this message comes through. You're connecting that ancestral energy, right? And another thing that I also talk about with people and on my lives almost every single time is about knowing your energy first before stepping
Mm,
into wanting to connect with other spirits, other energies, and then calling in that protection as well. Because when you're in tune with your vibration and your energy, I always say start off at the beginning of your day. How are you feeling? Are you feeling so? Are you feeling kind of tired? Are you feeling excited? Do you have a lot of energy? And then when you go to work or when you go to a space and Sapphire goes to a lot of haunted places and different places like that where she comes into a lot of different energy. So it's that thing when right before you walk in, how do you feel, and then you walk in, what is the energy shift, right? Because that's a really telltale sign of the energies around you. And a lot of the times people aren't even aware of how subtle the energy shift is until they leave and they're super tired and they don't know why they're so tired. They're like, what the
yeah.
heck just happened?
Yeah.
Right? And as a sensitive empath, we talked about that word last time too, a little bit, right? Like that energy. And since you've come to know about that, I'd love for you to just share with people like that understanding and awareness for you. How did that change for you doing the work that you do?
I mean, I never like considered myself an empath, and I think, and I talked to you about this too. It's just I feel like that word specifically has just become so loaded and
Yeah.
used in very different. Everyone's like, oh yeah, empath, 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 whatever. Like, what does it actually mean? So it's in my head, I was like, I don't think that's what I am. But then when I started like doing more spiritual work and stuff like that, I realized like, oh, I actually take on the like energy of like people way more than I thought. Like I kind of thought it was just me being like super anxious or super worried. And I remember like talking to, I don't know if anyone here has watched The Ghost Town Terror, but Sarah Lemos, she told me, she was like, anxiety is a way that like or anxiety is a very common way that people receive like energy changes because it literally is like just changing your body. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, like, maybe that's what I'm feeling then. So I don't know. It's kind of cool because I feel like my world is just being recontextualized now, and it's
I
kind
love
of
that.
cool.
It makes sense, right? Like it's kind of like
Yeah.
before you were just like, I don't know what this is. It's so overwhelming. What are all these? Why is it so I don't want to say heavy, but maybe just overwhelming, right? Like not
Yeah.
even knowing that this is where it could be connected to. What things have you started to do to help you with your anxiety and when that happens? Have you done anything that you've started to implement with work or just your everyday life since then?
I mean, one of the biggest things that helped is I'm now on a beta blocker because it slows my heart down. And I think
Yeah.
that like now that my physical anxiety symptoms are now under control, it helps the mental part of me, or it helps me control the mental part a little better. And also just like meditation, and I feel like, and also I've been in therapy, so I have like all of these tools, like
I
I
love
want to
that.
make sure. So I've got like the medical tools and the psychological tools and the spiritual tools. Like
Yes.
all, I feel like all the different types are helpful for me.
Yes, I love that you're sharing that, and we talked about this in the recording because I think it's so important to talk about because there's a lot of everybody's journey is unique, and I think it's dangerous when people will say, "Hey, only go the spiritual route," and discount the medical
Yeah.
um professionals and therapy. And I think it's important for people to pay attention to what works specifically for you because one thing may work for someone where they're completely off of any medication, don't take therapy, they do their own spiritual work or what have you, and it works for them, but that it's not a
Mhm.
blanket for everyone. And I think it's really
Right.
dangerous. So I love that you were open to share that with everyone because some people are afraid, again, because of what society thinks if you go to therapy or you are using any medications or things like that. And just
Yeah.
trust yourself. Your higher self and your intuition will show you and guide you. And it's going to take a lot of also that surrendering to that call as well, to go, hey, I need help, and I say that too. Don't be
Mhm.
afraid, don't be ashamed to ask for help, because sometimes there are your guides are putting people and situations and experiences in place for you to find that help, to help, to really get rid of all the craziness and all the overwhelm and things like that. And don't be ashamed, you guys. We are all here. We're all having a human experience, and everybody's journey is unique to themselves and what that looks like. And the more you can work on not comparing yourself as well will really really help you out in your spiritual journey. Just because we get caught up in that, you know what I mean, like wanting to compare,
Yeah.
oh, like my friends or my family members, or whether they're on a spiritual journey or not, like in life in general, we're so used to comparing ourselves. And when we honor ourselves, love on ourselves, get to know ourselves, it's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful relationship to start. And it's one of the most challenging ones, you know what I mean, when it comes to
Hmm.
this life journey, if you will. Yes. Do
Yeah.
we have I don't know if there's any comments, or is there anything you want to share on that, or anything you want to add to that as well?
Um, I just wanted to add, my phone, for whatever reason, is terrible whenever I do these lives. And I just got a notification that said, phone's getting warm. So if it logs off, that's why. It's because my phone
Okay.
decided to shut off because it got hot. So I just wanted you to know.
Yeah, no worries. It's probably like it's that energy too, babe. I tell you, remember last time we were recording and it was like kind of crazy,
It kept,
going in and
yeah, we had
out.
to start over like so many times.
I know it. I mean, well, because I told, it was so funny to you guys. We were doing the recording, and so I was gonna do, or I did a reading for Sapphire after, and her ancestors were just like, "Okay, let's go. We're ready to talk to her." They just kept coming through. It was so funny, and I loved. I don't know if you remember. Sometimes, like I think I was telling you about my Lola, and then certain things would like happen. And you're like, I just heard something. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
there
total
were like
sense.
taps and stuff. Oh yeah, and like before we started, I heard like a very loud bird behind me, and I've never heard that bird again ever since. Like I'm in this room all the time, and it sounded like so close, and I still
I
don't
got chills
remember
right
like
now.
that. Yeah, so I don't. It was weird because it also sounded like it was right behind me. I don't know, and
Yeah,
I don't.
that's
I
how
don't
my
know what
Lola
kind of bird
comes
call it was.
through. Yeah, she comes
Uh-huh.
through in birds for me a lot, so I'm not surprised at all.
Oh my God, that's so
Yes.
cool.
And since even since that recording, I had just it just keeps, I don't want to say gets crazier, but just so much more things have been just happening. And at the same time, I've been really really tired. Like there's just been, I feel like
Hmm.
my body's going through kind of this upgrade. A lot of people are experiencing it too. Kind of like spiritual flus, even, where it's like you can't even, I don't know, it just, your body's just going through this thing and upgrading, if
Yeah,
you will. And I know it kind of sounds crazy to some people, but when that happens, I'm like, okay, I just gotta rest. I just gotta chill
yeah.
out and just rest, because it can be a lot, and that's one of the things too that I feel like a lot of people don't realize as well when they start their journey, how sometimes being, whether you are a sensitive empath or you're just really really sensitive to energies, right? um if you don't cleanse yourself or protect yourself, or maybe you didn't even know to do that, you have taken on energetic blocks, or just like ailments that cannot be explained by doctors. This happens more often than not in sessions where I'll tell people, hey, this is where they're showing me you have this or this or that. And they're like, what the heck? Like, that's crazy. Because I have felt that. And I was curious to know, since you've started to open up kind of your channel and work with people, have you sensed anything like that? Or have you felt anything like that with people in their energy fields?
I feel like ever since I've moved to this house maybe a month or so ago, and I feel so much more tired than I did before. And like, I don't know if that's related to that, but I feel like there's certain people that when I'm around them, I just feel like so like either around them or even just like some people like it's one email and then immediately I'm like brr, just like totally drained.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm
no, I'm
trying to like
telling you,
pay
you're really
attention.
sensitive. Yeah. Um, you're really sensitive. I picked up on that for you and your reading. Really, really sensitive to energy. And that's that thing, right? Like you were talking about, I don't know, like sometimes, we've heard it all. Like, oh, I'm an empath, I'm an empath. There's even this long running joke on TikTok. You can see it in the comment section as an empath, and they'll say something silly, right? But it's just that thing, right? It's emotions, it's energy. I was commenting back with somebody in my comment section about this. They had said, well, I'm a healer and I'm an empath. And I said, well, having that ability doesn't mean that it's just for you to take on somebody else's emotions or trauma or whatever it is. It's that, yes, you are sensitive to it, but you also have the ability to transmute the energy or alchemize it or do something with it, not take it on as your own, right? And sometimes it's not even that it's a bad thing. And if we're not aware of it, we'll keep on taking it on, keep on taking it on, and then we have those physical ailments, and even
Yeah.
like you said, it can be an email, and you have no idea what that other person's going through, but you read the email, it's attached to their energy. Everything is energy. This conversation, this live stream, our physical beings here is all energy, so we pick up on it even if we're not physically next to the person, you know
Mhm.
have you tried like doing anything to start implementing that, like releasing stuff or
Um,
cleansing and things like that?
I could probably be better at it. I think I forget. I forget
It's
to
easy to
like
forget.
clear. Yeah, because I do offer. Oh, if anyone's interested, I offer tarot readings and oracle readings. And sometime I think I'm getting a little bit better. When I go in, I'm better about like clearing everything out so that I'm fresh for the person. But then sometimes I forget to like release after. That's probably, you know
Mhm.
what? That's probably why I've been feeling weird. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
no,
my
for
reminder.
sure. Yeah, and your channel, your abilities, I told you this last time, babe, they are insane, so buckle up. I think I told you this. A lot of things are activating for you, your ancestors were coming through and telling you this is something that's going to be natural for you, and sometimes again it can be kind of scary when it kind of all happens at once and you're like, whoa, what's happening, what is this? And your body will tell you, will remind you sometimes. What's good is setting the intention when you're showering or you're taking a bath.
Mm,
Water is so powerful to work with when you just set that intention and just like cleanse yourself. And again, everybody's different, what works, what doesn't work. I always tell people sometimes it's just that, imagine just like putting over a protective field over you, before you go into session or after. It's that intention with your words and your thoughts. I release any and all energy that doesn't belong to me with love and healing. Call back all my energy from any timeline, dimension, or reality, or even when we sleep, right? We're our souls are off doing things elsewhere. And you talked about, and I know you talk about this in your episodes too. I always hear you talk about your vivid dreams,
yeah.
girl. That's why you're tired too. You're off doing stuff, you know elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think you're even like lucid dreaming. Like, have you thought of that as like the things
Oh,
that you
yes.
experience?
Yeah. And I think that's actually why I've been so tired lately. Like every single night, my dreams are like incredibly vivid. Recently, they've been very, very lucid where I'm like maybe like 2 weeks ago, I was like flying around on a pillow. It was awesome.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah. But then I wake up and I'm like, why am I still so tired?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah. And
frustrating, but also fun.
yeah, for sure. And it's like, it's different for everyone, especially like I'm not so much of a lucid dreamer. My dreams have definitely gotten more vivid since I've started doing this work, but not necessarily like lucid, I would say. I definitely have that awareness to see what's going on, but I'm just like, okay, so do what you're going to do and leave me out of it because I'm over here trying to sleep. But I always try to like at least, set that intention. And a lot of people right now are actually, really experiencing this spiritual awakening on such a grand scale, and a lot of the traumas and the emotions that have been deeply suppressed are coming up. And a lot of times people are not able to do the one-on-one healing with a person or express themselves. And I always tell you guys, do not doubt working in the spiritual realm, in the astral realm. You can meet with someone's higher self to express any emotions, share it, and do the work there as well. Because there's a lot of things that I feel even on this live right now, there's some heaviness that I can feel. And I think that there's no coincidence that we're talking about all of these things. The people that are here on this live are hearing this and going, wow, maybe I can try doing that as well to kind of help out in that area as well. And I wanted to, somebody's like, OMG, I've been, Anthony said, I've been having lots of dreams lately. And I want to get into this a little bit. Like, do you, because I feel like dreams are they're just so limitless. That experience, right? They're symbols. They're
Right.
your loved ones coming to visit you. Then they're your soul's doing things. And what has been like the most? I don't want to say scariest because I don't want to like make it seem like it's a scary thing. But what was the most kind of like, whoa, what's going on? I need to wake up. And I also want to ask you, do you ever experience sleep paralysis? Because that's a big
Oh,
thing that people talk about.
okay. So I actually talked
Yes.
about both of these dreams on my podcast. I don't know if you listened to this one yet, but the scariest thing that happened was the very first like real in my like that I consider my very first like kind of ghostly paranormal type of experience was the one where like I had this very vivid dream. I was like at my grandma's house, and then it looked like her house, and then I walked into the bathroom, and then it all of a sudden changed. I saw like this woman face down on the ground. Her long black hair was sort of just like all over, and I immediately started thinking, oh wait, no, 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 don't show me what happened, I don't want to know. And I started freaking out, and then I'm trying to like get out of the bathroom, and I can't. And then I wake up, and I hear this like a woman's voice humming like right in front of my face, but I'm wearing an eye mask. So when I open my eyes, like I can't see anything, and I'm way
Yeah.
too scared to move. I'm just like, I can't move. But she's singing for like a while. It's like two bars, and I remember the melody. And then I just like laid in bed like the entire time because I was like, what the fuck? Like I can't go back to sleep now. So that was like the scariest one. But then like the more I thought about that and the more I talked to people about it, I am no longer scared, and I actually like tried to like reconnect with her because I was like, I want to know, was it like the woman that I saw face down on the ground? Was that who was singing to me? Or like I just still have so many questions about that. I was only scared because it was the first time anything like that had ever happened to me. But the more I look back at it, I'm like, okay, I guess it wasn't like that's great. It was just like kind of cool. But the most like profound, I love this dream. I think about it every single day. The most profound dream that I ever had was maybe a couple months ago, and it was the end of the world. And it was understood that the earth was going to explode, and so all the humans were scrambling to get on these spaceships to take us to another planet. And so I'm in a spaceship, and I'm looking out the window, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, we're too late because we see this orange explosion just like in the city center, and then it's like growing and growing, and it's about to hit us. And I start panicking, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm going to die. This is death. And then I feel someone hit me on the side of my arm, and I turn, and it's my sister, my older sister, and she's, my voice of reason. And she looks at me in the eye and says, you're only punishing yourself. And then, like, just in an instant, I knew exactly what she was trying to say because she says this all the time to me. Like,
Yeah.
why are you freaking out over something that you cannot control? Like, it is literally the end of the world. Everyone's gonna die. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing I can do. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh my God, she's right. Like I have no control. So, if this is really my last few moments here, I should even like how can you enjoy like but I was like, I
Yeah.
should enjoy it. And then I closed my eyes, and then I felt like our spaceship get hit, and then I remember like this feeling of like us sinking, and then I started floating, and then everything got really quiet, and I remember thinking, this is death. And then I woke up, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? And it was like the I love that dream because I like having my sister say that to me is, I don't know, because like I said, I am a very anxious person, and I worry about shit just like all the time. And then when
Yeah.
I am doing that, I always stop. Wait, am I punishing myself? Am I stressing over something that I do not have control over? And like that dream changed my life.
Oh,
Like I still get anxious, but like it's so cool to have had that
yeah.
experience. Like I don't know, it almost feels like it was more than a dream. It was like a
Yeah,
message for me or something.
definitely. Definitely. You know what? I definitely listened to that episode and I'm gonna tell you, babe, I freaking cried. I
Really?
cried. Like, cause I was so overwhelmed with just the way you were telling that story. And I could feel the energy of the way you were describing it. And I cried for you in a good way. I was like happy for you. I remember I was like, oh my God, yes, yes, Sapphire. I was I remember I was driving down to the valley to go see my grandma when I remember I did because I think you were doing kind of a recap from other, it was like a recap type of, it was the more one of
Yes.
the more recent episodes. Yes, girl,
Yeah.
I loved that message for you. I got chills. I remember I was like teary-eyed. I was like just like yes, because that's so, it's just that, right? Like sometimes our higher selves, our loved ones, our soul family will come to us and express these emotions to get us to go, hey, like let's look at it, let's look at life this way, and look at how much it's just transformed the way you see life and the way you're more, you're quicker to respond to something versus react to like, oh my God, like what's
Yeah.
happening, right? You're able to
Yeah.
go check yourself really and hold yourself accountable to your emotions. And the thing that I think is so powerful is I tell people this, like becoming an observer of your thoughts and the things that emotions, especially as empaths, learn how to become an observer, because you'll realize more often than not they're not even your thoughts or emotions. They're really not. Sometimes they're other people's, like, you know, they think of mind reader. That's also an ability connected to being an empath, is you're reading someone's energy, you're reading their mind. And sometimes it's
Hmm.
kind of like overwhelming because you're like, I don't want to know this, you know, I don't want to know
Yeah.
this about something. I say this even when it comes to like your partners, your friends, the closest people to you, and sometimes even
Okay.
complete strangers, you know. But yeah, I love that. I love that. It looks like there's somebody in here who says, hi, Sapphire, the anime queen.
Sorry, I just had like a
Someone,
coughing fit there. It was weird.
no, I know I did too earlier. That's why I had my water here too, because I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
what is
well,
going
that's
on?
fine.
Somebody asked, what about reoccurring dreams? Do you have a reoccurring dream?
I mean, oh my God. I'm fine. I'm
No,
fine.
you're fine.
I think I'm
Yes,
just from
grab some
talking.
water.
I'm fine. So I there. Okay, I have reoccurring themes, not necessarily like the
Oh.
same thing happening, but there was like a period of my life where I would dream that me and my husband were moving to a new place, and
Oh.
sometimes that place would be the same, but like there's so I have very vivid memories of places that like probably don't exist in real life, but in my head I've seen it so many times that like
Yeah.
it feels real. So it's weird. Like I'm like sometimes I'm like, wait, did we live in a place that looked like that? Like, no, right? Like I have to think about it because it really feels like a memory. It's very strange.
Yeah.
So I have like those, but
Have you tried to look them up though?
I don't
Did you
know
try to look?
how. But I remember very specific details about like each place, and I don't know. But if I ever like go to a place like that, I would know. If
Yeah. That's interesting. I wonder. Um, so this is like I forgot what it was, what they said the meaning was of this, but I feel like this is the most common reoccurring dream that most everybody's had. That feeling
uh-huh.
of falling, you're about to
Yes.
die, but before you hit, you wake up. Oh my God, I used to have that dream as a kid. I forgot what they said it means. Does anybody here on the live, has anybody had that dream as well? Does anybody remember what that means? Because I don't know. It stopped happening, but that used to scare the shit out of me. I was like, oh my God, what the heck?
I
It was
think
so crazy.
I think it's got something to do like feeling out of control. Like if you're falling,
Oh,
I and also it depends on how you feel about the falling. Is it like someone pushed you? Is it you jumped? That says a lot
yeah,
about like what the falling means for you.
yeah. You know what? I from like thinking back at this moment in time, I feel like I just somehow tripped or would fall over like a cliff or something. And that's interesting. The first thing you said was that feeling like you're out of control of things, and that resonates so much to the timeline of when I would have the dreams. Of course, I was a kid. You know, I had a lot of tough experiences as a kid. So I think that yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Someone says, Sapphire, do you think you could maybe read my paranormal experience on your next episode? Asks that anime queen 8897. I'm sure Sapphire is inundated with lots of emails and she will look for it if she can find it. But
Yeah,
yes, um, yeah. Someone says I used to have recurring flying dreams, like I would jump and fly.
well, that's fun. I
Ooh,
play a lot in my
yeah.
dreams.
That's so crazy. Like, okay, so do you because you're lucid dreaming, so you're intentionally going, all right, we're gonna do this thing. Like, does it
Yeah.
feel? I don't say real life because I feel like it's real life, but you're
Oh, it
just in
feels
another
real.
dimension.
It
Yeah,
feels very
I
real.
think that's so real. So how did like if you can describe like you go to bed and then could you even describe it? Like how does that feel?
So I actually listen to lucid dreaming tracks. If you just go on
Oh
YouTube
wow,
and type in like lucid dreaming meditation, I'll put it on before I go to bed, and then I'll
yeah.
take out my earbud. Like I usually fall asleep during the meditation, and then I wake up and I feel very buzzy, and then I go right back to bed.
Mm,
And then those are the
yeah.
nights when I have the wildest dreams.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you feel like your body's vibrating, like
Hmm.
that type of feeling?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's weird. But it's so
Someone
fun.
said,
I remember the most recent flying dream I had. I remember like I was riding my pillow and then I had to like
yeah.
learn the motions for like how to turn things. So like pulling it up means break, and then if I go forward, it's go. It was awesome. It was so fun.
Were you freaking Aladdin and you're just like, but on your pillow, you're like, I fucking love that. That's your means of transportation in the astral. You're like, on what color's your pillow? I'm curious.
Blue.
Really? Is it always the
Yeah.
same pillow?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that. I love that so much. Somebody asks, do you eat or meditate to lucid dream? I think you said you listen to like a YouTube.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
just listen to tracks on YouTube.
yes. You get a strong feeling you can fly, and you just know, and it works every time. We have another astro flyer in here. Ooh,
Yeah, flying's the best.
yes. Let me see. Somebody said I used to have reoccurring dreams of tsunamis coming towards me. Oh my
Oh.
goodness.
Well, that's like impending catastrophes. So it's like maybe you're like worried about something in the future, something like that. Maybe
Yeah.
like you're worried about you may not be prepared, something like that,
Like
right?
stress. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I remember not too long ago, when I was really just kind of trying to clear out some stuff from other lifetimes, and I knew that I had a life as a young male fighting in a war that I didn't believe in, and I set my intention. I was like, all right, before I go to bed, I want to do some healing work in that timeline, in that lifetime, so I can integrate it with this timeline. And it was so fucking crazy because I said that, and I said a protection prayer, of course, before I went into it, and I was going like in and out of sleep, and I can hear the bullets flying past my ear. I was like, oh my god. And sometimes my husband's like, babe, are you okay? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I think I am. And he's like, okay. Like he just like trips out sometimes because there's just like this insane, like it's real. Like I don't even want to say it
Yeah.
feels real because that shit is real. And I just was like, all right, I'm gonna get ready to go into this thing. And it's like this battlefield, and I can just hear the bullets just flying past my ears. It's like the craziest thing ever.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty insane stuff. And yeah, I don't I shared this the last time I was on, not the last time, but like one of the times I did this ceremony ritual not too long ago with my ancestors. And this was the first time that I had ever felt like I was in another reality, but also present in the here now. I'm
Hmm.
like on a battlefield, and it was the craziest thing because I felt like my abilities that I was able to bring in, like I was essentially able to what is it called? I'm having such a brain fart. Not lucid dream. Um, what
Astral
is it when you
project?
can no, when you can see another place but you're
Oh, remote
here?
viewing?
Yes. Yes, like that. Oh my god, that was the first time I had ever experienced something like that. like I was able to give them insight as to where the other whoever it was that our ancestors, the colonizers essentially is what it was really. um and like it was just the craziest thing because I could feel everything, and I'm like chanting, and I was kind of like doing this thing where it felt like I was sending signs through Morse code, but through like my chanting, and I was hitting the ground. And my husband and my kid could hear me. They had the window open. I was in the back by myself, and it was just like the craziest thing because I could see them and we're like crouched down, and I just give them this go ahead, like you can go now. And it was the craziest fucking thing. And after that,
Wow.
I sat back, and then I went into trance with my ancestors, and it was just like I was so I'd never experienced something like that, especially the back to back to back ways they like brought me into this reality, if you will. And then I went into trance where they came into my body, and after that I was freaking out of it. I was so just tired. I had so much energy flowing through me in and out, and I hadn't experienced something like that. And it wasn't necessarily my intention, but I know that they really wanted to show me some things like, hey, like the work that you're doing. And that's another thing that I always try to remind people, especially when we're doing this ancestral healing, and tapping into that energy. We are healing timelines, you guys. We are healing timelines. We are healing timelines. And even when we think of the connection to our ancestors, a lot of people, I had somebody recently, and I thought it was really beautiful and amazing that they could acknowledge this. I believe this person was Caucasian, and they had commented, because I did a video about you are your ancestors' wildest dreams, and I'm just speaking this love and affirmation into whoever this video came across. And they had said, I don't think that my ancestors were good people because I think they were like slave owners and things like
Mm.
that. And I said, the fact that you can acknowledge that is healing in itself. And that's a great starting point, to have that acknowledgement. Because if you don't, then you really can't heal anything or be the change in your lineage if you can't acknowledge
Yeah.
that. So I tell people this all the time. Because you'll feel that heaviness, that shadow aspect of the ancestral energy coming through you sometimes, that's calling out to you for you to be the one to heal that ancestral trauma. And that's hard. That is not easy
Yeah.
to want to be the one to heal that within your lineage. And especially with all of the racism that we're seeing that's being shown light on, they're um that's another thing that I talk about. I try to talk about in a very I tread lightly, if you will, when I talk about this, because yes, we're all connected. Yes, we're all universal energy that is connected. We're connected through the collective consciousness. But I also encourage people to do that internal work, to decolonize your mind, decolonize your spirituality. And as much as there are differences, there are also similarities in
Hmm.
some of the traumas that we have experienced. And if you can embrace that and work on that, you're going to see expansion in your journey. And a lot of times there's this, like, it's unfortunate, but hey, this is why we have these conversations, that we can talk about some of the things that are really just shoved down our throats, if you will, sometimes when it comes to new age spirituality, about this we're all one, we're all humans, there is no color. And I think it's really
Right.
dangerous to spew that and discount that, because there's still a lot of pain that we are
Yes.
carrying within our own DNA, within our
Hmm.
own energetic bodies from our ancestors. And the work that we're doing and acknowledging is not only healing generation before us, but after us. And we're integrating it here and now. And I think it's just really, really important. Do you want to share anything with that, Mama? Do you want to share
Yes.
anything with that, love?
Preach.
Real-
um,
yeah, yeah.
actually, there's something that I learned recently where there have been studies that show that when trauma happens, whether it's emotional trauma or physical trauma, that actually gets like scientifically baked into the DNA of
Mm-hmm.
people. And so I think maybe, I don't know where I heard this, but it's like it skips sometimes. So it's like we might carry the trauma of our grandparents, like our lolas.
Yeah.
And when I just remember hearing that and being like, oh, so it's more than like, it's more than just like a psychological story thing that we carry the trauma. It's like also like literally in biologically in our bodies we carry it. So it's a very
Yeah,
like real thing. And
absolutely.
then also, yeah, like all the whole like new agey, like, oh, we're like, there's no colors, there's no race. And it's like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
what, like, yes, like that is the world we would everyone would love to live in. I would love to live in a world where we all loved each other that way. But unfortunately,
Mhm.
right now that is not what we have. And so it's almost like you're putting blinders on
Yeah.
to what is really going on. And it's like until we all universally can address these issues, these topics, then we can't be that like utopia that like we all I wish the world was that way, but it's not. And it's like, why though?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
can't we all just love? But
Exactly.
we
And
if you're not there, yeah.
and it's also a part of our human experience, right? So we're souls, we're energy having this human experience. So I think there's something to say about that balance of duality, right? Recognizing it, acknowledging it, and being able to face it. That's that what they uh facing your demons, so to speak, right? What that looks like. And because I'm not gonna lie, when I first started out on my spiritual journey, I fell into that trap. You know what I mean? It's that also that kind of colonizer mindset that I, what I had taken on as well, until learning how to decolonize and deconstruct those ideologies of certain things and being like, hey, I gotta own who I am as well. And as a Filipino woman, I've really been starting on that reconnection journey culturally as well, and seeing how why I thought that way and why I felt so disconnected from my culture and why things were just like, whatever. I live here in the US, so what does it matter? You know what I mean? What does it matter to reconnect to my ancestors? And the way my
Yeah.
ancestors have been coming to me, like I'm very passionate about talking about this, especially with the whole secrets that I've come to know about, like the mother wounds within my lineage and family, the matriarchs, if you will, and reconnecting them here and stepping into the divine feminine and embracing all of it. Healing those wounds are so deep, and it's really empowering, but also there's a lot of pain there. You know what I mean? And that plays out in the way we show up in the world, the way we show up in relationships, the way I
Yeah.
always like to say, the way we perceive love, the way we receive
Mhm.
love, and the way we just accept love. What does that look like? There's just so much that's going on in a very deep internal way, and sometimes, you guys, it's not even your stuff that you're experiencing that you don't even know. Like we're talking about, these are scientifically proven. Of course, we're not scientists, we don't have all the things to reference back to, but if you look it up, I'm sure you can find it. But it's real shit. Like I had a session, where I don't say names or anything, but this woman was in just so much pain, and I expressed to her, hey, your grandma's here and she's talking about the sexual trauma
Mm.
that she had experienced. I was like, here's where you have taken on the pain. It's in your sacral. You have excruciating pain. You can't even get up. And she's just like, oh my God. She's like, oh, it was from my C-section. I said, ma'am, you had your C-section years ago. You shouldn't still have that pain. This is an energetic pain that's been passed down, and she's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And there's so many different ways in which we carry on that pain and that trauma. And there's something also to say about not, don't discount that connection you have in spirit to your ancestors, because I know it seems kind of fucking crazy, especially when you don't have a tangible thing to connect it with. And then when spirit shows you and they lead you to this knowing, and you're like, holy fucking shit. And it's insane. Like I share a lot of the times this thing with my Lola being my main spirit guide that I never met in person. That's my mother's biological mother. And I just recently got my test results back from ancestry DNA, and I didn't know that I'm a court of Visayan. And then that made sense with why I was being guided to read about the Babaylan and like all these different connections that I'm like, holy shit. Like I need to really stop that doubt every time it seeps in, just like turn it off. And so I learned that with Manang Lin, she in her reading, she had told me about my ancestors that practice that they were part of the Espiritista religion, where it was like part Christianity but part spirituality,
Hmm.
intertwining them both. And I see that on my paternal side of my family. And then Babaylang Catalonan being Ilocano, and then also Visayan. So all these things, I'm like, holy shit! No wonder I was really deep into Christianity, and I had that struggle with letting go of what the church told me was speaking in tongues, what that meant, what that looked like. And this is why I tell you guys, there's so much doctrination that you don't even realize. And once you really pinpoint it, you go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, damn. And then you'll start to sometimes beat yourself up, and I encourage you to hold space for yourself, have grace for yourself, because you didn't know otherwise. How can you beat yourself up when you didn't know, right? So
Right.
when you can now come into this awareness, you can go, oh, is there something you, because I feel like you have similar stories to that. Is there anything you want to share
Oh,
with your experience with that too, love for you to
oh,
share.
I mean, like most Filipino Americans, my parents are also, my whole family is all very Catholic.
Mm.
And I feel like I'm coming around because I think I don't know, this might be a common trajectory, maybe not, but you start off where you may not like vibe with the religion, but you're kind of forced to do, just play all the roles and whatever. And
Yeah.
then you come a period where you're like, I'm atheist, I don't believe in shit. But then you kind of like come
Yeah.
around, find something, right? And then you like find something else. And now because I'm learning about other things too, I feel like I'm understanding, how do I say this? I think what's making me appreciate Catholicism more, and not necessarily like wanting to be a Catholic, but like I'm understanding the teachings of it without all of the bullshit. Like that's what
Mm.
I'm most
Yeah.
that's what's
I
making
feel
me
that.
like understand Catholics more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like because, in my head, I'm like, well, Catholicism doesn't allow women to be priests. It seems like it hates women. Like that's just where my brain went. But there's
Yeah.
all these things about it that aren't necessarily bad. It's always the people that make it bad. But when you go
Yeah.
to like the core of it, everything, all religions and beliefs are kind of pretty much the same thing. Like, what is a spell if not a prayer? Or setting an intention? Like, it's all the same stuff, just called something else. But something that I like to share with people, that I think is really cool, and this is how I view it. So you know how like in Catholicism, the belief is that we are created in God's image. And oh, wait, what was oh shoot, I'm gonna forget the other aspect. But we're created in God's image. But when you think about it, like ancestors, we are their image because we're literally their DNA, and
Yeah.
we know for a fact that they existed because we would not be here if they
Yeah.
didn't. So to me, I I like this idea of like what God is in Catholicism, like it makes more sense to me to worship my ancestors as opposed to this like thing that it doesn't isn't really a person. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if that makes any sense, but like
No, it does.
that's why I vibe more with the idea of worshiping ancestors versus this like guy.
This guy, right? Yeah, it's such a patriarchal. That's a whole other fucking thing. But
Right,
you
exactly.
know,
It's like really like it's not. I have so many issues.
yeah, the patriarchy, misogyny, it's capitalism. It gets you. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? I feel like even just again when we're unlearning and deconstructing, we pinpoint those associations as well, and how
Yeah.
deeply ingrained they are in our life, in our spirituality, and that's where it's really important again to unlearn certain things and just again be graceful with yourself, and I love that you touched on that because I tell people all the time, just because you open yourself up to this awareness and spirituality, your connection to your ancestors, your spirit guides, your cosmic family, so on and so forth, it doesn't mean that what you believed before has to be completely severed. It just might look
Mhm.
different now. You might have a
Yeah.
different awareness to it. And I'm getting chills right now saying this. It might even be a little more stronger because you see it in a different light, in a different energy, a different frequency, where you're like,
Yeah.
this makes sense now. I vibe with this. Not with the
Yeah.
fucking like you know what, I was actually on the other live, we were talking about this. Somebody, of course, somebody Bible thumping came in my live and was saying, "Oh, you're going to the fire of hell," and da da da. And then somebody was asking about religion, and I said, "Listen, it's all about intention, because what are you doing with your energy? Because if you really want to talk about some shit, let's talk about the priests in the church that have been hurting children. What is their
Yeah.
intention? And people are going to
Mhm.
them every single day, fucking Father, Son, Holy Spirit, every fucking day. What's the difference? There's intention behind it. So what is it that you're really doing? Are you using your energy and your spell work, your veneration and your incantations for bad, or are you sending ill will to someone? What are you doing with that energy? You know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
can let go of people's perception of the work that you're doing, and you can reconnect, you are so and spiritually guided and protected, you can't make this shit up. You know what I mean? Like, you really can't make this shit up. You know, it's like,
Hmm.
what are you doing? And the energy that you put out, it will come back to you. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that you're putting out into the world in this lifetime or the next, that energy carries. That's where the karmic cycles come in, your soul contracts come in, and so on and so forth. And it is like, truly, I know it feels fucking heavy right now, you guys, but it is such a exciting fucking time to be alive in this timeline right here during this spiritual awakening. Y'all, tap the fuck into your power. I don't know how many times I gotta speak this power into y'all. It's like, it's potent, you know what I mean, when you really grasp it, and you step into it. Like, there is something to say about the fact that your loved ones or your family, your friends that aren't quite on this journey are gonna look at you a little fucking weird. It just comes with the territory. They don't understand, they don't have that awareness,
Yeah.
and you don't have to fight them on it. You know what I mean? Your energy literally plants little seeds. You know, it plants little seeds. I actually posted a story screenshot about this because I had shared my ancestry test with my little brother, and he was like, oh yeah, because I had talked. I was like, hey, we have a little bit of Indian and Chinese in us, and he has like so much. I don't even want to get into. He's a Trump supporter and all that shit, but he's like, well, we're mostly Filipino, and I'm like, okay, dude, but we're also Chinese and Indian, you know. And he's like, yeah, and I was like, thanks for confirming that, like being sarcastic with him, and I was like, you know, and he said something about, yeah, my friends think that I'm half black and half Japanese. And I was like, well, you know, we do have ancestors that were the negritos of the Philippines. So, you know, when we were younger, and our hair was really coarse and curly, and our dark skin, and you know, they used to tell us these things. I was like, listen, that's part of that decolonizing. I'm like, brother, decolonize your mind, decolonize your spirituality. I know you're going to do what you want, but our ancestors are calling out to us to remember. Even that, from a, you know, living in the diaspora as Filipino Americans, there's so much of that, you know, we've talked about. I know you talk about it in your podcast too. And so many people are just so unaware. They're like just living life, do but the way that their family and society's told them to live their lives, and they don't feel free. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
don't feel free when it comes to that. And I just think it's a really beautiful, beautiful path to be on. I know I'm like, yeah, y'all, come on. I'm like trying to hype everyone. Do you have anything else you want to share with that, or your own experience as well, love?
I mean, when you said like the planting seeds, I feel like it, I mean, I've always kind of felt like I was, you know, the only one who was really interested in anything like quote unquote dark or different in my family. But I think like now, like my cousins are starting to dabble in some stuff. Like even my mom's
Yeah.
doing things that like she probably like never would have, and she's like the most Catholic person like in the world. And part of it is
Yes.
because they listen to my podcast, and I try my best to like explain that like look, this isn't like this is part of being Filipino. You know, you cannot
Mm-hmm.
reject this part too.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know. I yeah, it's kind of cool. And I think that I have to be I'm trying to be more patient because um what's the word I'm looking for? Or sometimes I feel like I'm on this journey alone, but I'm really not. I'm really not. It's like I just because when I look when I look back at like all of like my cousins and my sister, it's like they're catching up. They're like doing stuff that maybe they wouldn't have considered, you know, years ago. And part of it is because like I'm planting the little the little seeds, and
Mm-hmm.
so that like I had to remind myself like that's also that yeah, just be patient and
Yeah.
don't be like impatient if it feels like people aren't I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
saying like on the same level at all. It's more just like I feel like I'm going so hard in like learning about all the stuff and whatever
Yeah.
um that it feels like I'm I'm alone sometimes. But I'm really not. I'm just
Yeah.
saying
That's
it
a
can feel lonely.
Yeah, that's a common thing that so many people experience, especially, you know, if they're the only ones, right? It's like you feel really lonely. And I try to encourage people to, you know, your energy plants that seed, your frequency shifts within yourself. And whether you physically live with those family members, or you're in the same town as those best friends or friends or what have you, they can energetically feel something shifting within you. And at the same time, some people just aren't gonna air quote wake up in this lifetime. You know what I mean? And you can still love them, you know. And there's also something to say. I always encourage people to have to learn how to have and enforce spiritual boundaries in the physical and in the spiritual realms, because sometimes people, when you raise your vibration, they don't want to do the work, but they always gravitate towards you. That's another thing with empaths. They always
Mm,
gravitate towards you, want to trauma dump to you sometimes. And it's not to say
yeah,
don't be, you know, don't be a good friend, don't be a good sister, cousin, whatever. It's not to say that at all, but there's also something to say about the boundary set with that energy, and is it being
yeah.
mutually exchanged, because a lot of the times it's always one-sided for empaths.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice on how to set those boundaries? Because I've realized I have this pattern in my life where I'll like meet someone and like, we'll be friends or whatever, but then it always gets to a point where like I feel like they think we're closer than we are, and then that makes me want to like pull away, but then it only makes them like try to like get me more, and then and because I'm so terrible, like I always get it to the point where I end up just like blowing up, and then just it always ends terribly. And so like, do you have any advice on like how to prevent things getting from that point to that point? Or like, why do I always let that happen? Like, why does that always happen to me?
It's part of that, you know. It's just part of that again, it's the empathy part of you, right? So you feel and see things before they even tell you. You can just feel their soul. You can feel what they what's hurting within them, and you have such that, like, I think I told you kind of this in your reading too. You just have this all knowing without knowing, right? So you're already this safe haven for them, so you open yourself up to them, right? And so they're like, ah, my new friend, like, yes, you see me, you feel me, you get me. And for your soul as well, I think what would be great for you to look up is your human design. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised by what your human
Oh,
design will tell you
okay,
about yourself when it comes to this as well. I'm not an expertise on that, but I just heard from Spirit. I think that would be great for you to look up on, to give you some insight there as well. But
okay.
intuitively, I just feel that, right? Like you're this safe place, this haven for people to come to, and they're so attracted to you. And you don't even know what's happening, right? So, of course, you're not trying to set a boundary because you're just like, it I said that because it also feels good to you, right? I hope you don't get offended by that, but like it feels good to have somebody, like, you know, be like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, they're attracted to your energy, and it feels good. So it's like you don't feel a need yet to set a boundary or to say, hey, right? Like let's slow it down a little bit. It's like that when you're dating. If you think about that, it's like the chase mentality, our human mind, right? It's like, oh, like they pour all the way into you, and you're kind of like, I'm kind of over this. This is kind of a little much. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? And so when it comes to boundaries, I don't think necessarily it's, yes, boundaries, but in the way that you're describing it, it's just that how much are you opening yourself up to this person to just dump all the way, because again, it has
Mm.
to be a mutually beneficial relationship, right? So when you're
Because I
talking to them, or you're, what was that?
Or no, because like what I've noticed is that like it's never, well, like maybe in the beginning it's mutual, but then something like will happen where I'm like, oh, I don't think this is like I don't want this anymore, and then I stop like I don't know, and then maybe
Yeah.
I
Do
stop like
you do
I
you
don't
feel
really
like
open to
you
them.
open up more vulnerably to them, where you feel seen, or is it the other way around, where they have
No, like
opened
they
themselves up?
yeah, where they like trauma dump on me, and I'm just like I don't want this anymore though.
Yeah.
I don't know
Um
what to do.
that's a very tough thing. That's a thin line, right? Because of course you want to be a reliable friend. You want to be somebody that they can call upon, that they can trust, and things like that. And I feel like um it won't be so overwhelming when you implement those, like releasing the energies. Did you
Wait,
see
that was
something?
weird. You just like randomly got a flower crown. Did you like change a filter or something? Did
No.
someone do that? Is
Did
that a thing that
somebody send
happens
a
on here?
Oh yeah,
Is that a
somebody
thing?
sent a garland headpiece. It's your little the girl. I'm
I
just kidding.
what is that? I was like, oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
That freaked me out. I was like, wait, why do you have a flower crown now?
Thank you. No, I was just gonna say, I think that the more that you put up your own, because here's what'll happen. This is something, I don't know, cousin, if you're on here watching, my cousin has something, a similar type of experiences, if you will. So I've been teaching her like setting up that protection field, so it's like they'll know when to energetically stop and not dump so much, because
Mm.
it's just an energetic thing that they'll feel. And it's not even because it's hard, right, to say, hey, can you not trauma dump to me, can you not tell me that, right? You don't want to say that
Yeah.
straight up to them, right?
Yeah,
So
right, right.
it's an energy field that you'll set before going into something as well, because then they'll kind of know, right? And then when you're ready, you can kind of lower it as well with that intention before going into something, because
Oh
you'll
no.
intuitively know before it starts to happen, right?
Oh no, my phone is shutting down. No, I'm gonna.
Ah, no. I think it just shut off right now. Can you guys oh, I think her phone did end up disconnecting. I think hopefully maybe she'll put it on a charger and come back on. This was getting good, y'all. When I feel they want to dump only, I change the subject and then end the conversation. That's a good one too. That's a good one too, Anthony. Oh, darn it. I think her let's see if she'll probably put her phone. Let me see. How do I send her? Let me see if she's back on here. Hold on, y'all. Did her phone overheat? Yeah, I think she was just like, oh, it's about to overheat. Hold on. Give me just a minute, you guys. You guys, I'm back. Let me see if I can find her. Let me see if I can find Miss Sapphire. Let me see. Let me see. Uh, thank you guys for hanging out. This was getting really good. I mean, it's been good. It's been good. It's been good. Invite. I think she's back on. I should just sent it back to her. Hi, you guys. Thank you guys for joining, for hanging out. Yeah, I think her phone overheated. Hopefully, it really is such a good live. We've talked about so much stuff. There's no coincidence, you guys joined this. Hopefully, we can get Miss Sapphire. You guys, I'm telling you, if you didn't follow her, go to my video where I tagged her. It's a few videos down. Um, I'm telling you, Sapphire is fucking amazing. Okay, I'm so glad you guys got to. Hopefully, she jumps back on here. Go follow her here. Go follow her on Instagram. Go watch her on Discovery Plus. She's on a few shows, Ghost Town Terror, and then I forgot the name of the other one that she said, where they do kind of reactions to certain paranormal things. So it's like if you're into the paranormal, ghosty type shows, go watch her and support her. Um, her podcast is Stories with Sapphire. She has amazing guests on. Me too. I'm gonna be the finale one though, but paranormal caught on camera. Yes, that one. And then she's also opened up tarot readings as well. Um, and you can book that with her. You can find it all on her links, all on her links. Let me see if I can on her links. And you guys, hold on. Oh no. Oh no. Let me see if I can find her. Her phone's probably like. And last time we did a recording together too. Every time. Well, she talks and she records with some pretty. I mean, she's her energy as well. I mean, it's a co-collective energy that kind of shoots our electronics out. Um. Oh, thank you, Rachel. You're so sweet, love. Hi from Dayton, Ohio. Hey, hey. This is so good. I've dealt with a lot of these things my entire life and for all. I'm beautiful, babe. I'm so glad that you were able to catch this live and get some insights on some of the things that you'd been experiencing, babe. No coincidences. I'm trying to see where. Oh, I think I don't know if she came back on. I don't know. Lillian, if you want to book a reading with me, you can find that all on my website, lightlanguagelove.com. If you're interested in a tarot reading with Miss Sapphire, head over to her website. I believe she has all her links on there. If it's not on the TikTok account, it might be on her Insta, but I believe she should have it on both. So you can check that out. And for mine as well, you can find that on the link in my bio. And you guys, if you place an order on my crystal shop, while I'm on live, I'm doing my live since I don't have her on here yet. I'm doing a live giveaway with my crystal rings and necklaces. I'm continuing it, my darlings. But yeah, if you want to book a one-on-one with me or a video recorded reading, you can find that on my website with Miss Sapphire. Head over to her account. It's Sapphire Sandalo, SapphireSandalo, I believe. And you can book a tarot reading with her as well. And listen, if you book with her and you came from this live, listen, you better be there on time, because she'd posted something where somebody was so negligent of her time, and I don't like that. And you guys know I shared an experience I had. It actually happened on the same day. You guys don't do that. Whether it's me or her or anybody you're booking a session with, please be respectful of people's time. They put a lot of energy into offering sessions and holding space, so be respectful, please, please, please. Let me see, I'm trying to send her a request again, but I don't see her on live. She might be putting her phone back up, or her maybe charging it, maybe cooling it down. Can I ask, how do you know if a crystal is real? There's a lot of different ways to check if a crystal is real. A lot of crystals, for the most part, if it feels cold, that's a big indicator. Like, it literally is cold. That's a big indicator if a crystal is real. Another one is like with quartz. If you have a quartz piece, I'm trying to let me see my Lemurian quartz. If you have a quartz piece, the moss agate is fabulous. You kept it, huh, babe? I told you were not gonna give that to your husband. Another good indicator test is if you have a quartz and another quartz, if you scratch it, it won't scratch because of the hardness. And every crystal has a different hardness test, so this is not going to work for all of them. It doesn't mean it's fake if it's like a different type of crystal. But look up different tests. So those are the two main ones I say is the temperature of the crystal. Is it cold to touch? Okay, and then of course if you're wearing it on your body, it's not always going to stay cold, but that's a quick go-to test. And then with quartz, scratch it up against another one. If there's a scratch, no scratch. And again, all depends on, yeah, I touch them and it feel if it's cold. That's the go-to test. And try that with any quartz crystal. Scratch it. Scratch it. Oh my god, I got a clear crystal and it started turning black. Holy shit. I don't know. I have not experienced anything like that. Do you have any other... You know what, Lucid Dreamer? It freaking sucks. It's interesting you brought that up because I went to check the scammers today and there's like almost 20 fake accounts. I mean, I just know the more my account's going to keep growing, I'm going to hit 1 million plus. I know this, and it's just going to keep growing, you guys. So please use your discernment. I will not reach out to you for a reading. You cannot win a reading. The only way to receive a reading from me is through booking on my website, lightlanguagelove.com. It's linked in my bio. And I've started putting watermarks. I try to remember to stamp it on all of my videos. But yeah, it's so unfortunate. The recent one that they made, they freaking used the video where I was talking about what was going on with my grandma. These people have no fucking shame. But they will get dealt with by my ancestors because they don't fucking play about me. So they can keep doing what the fuck they're doing, but they're gonna get the wrath of my ancestral energy because they don't fucking play. Especially, unfortunately, for some people, they fell for it and they paid them. You know, I had somebody try to come at me sideways about that, and I said, listen, That's not how, you know, you can't win a reading from me. You can't. And somebody tried to badmouth me too, and you guys saw that video where I replied to their comment. I was like, no, nope, that wasn't me. You can't win a reading from me. And it does get frustrating because that's my livelihood, that's my integrity that is being put out there as something as of a fucking scam and a fraud, and it's not me. It is very frustrating, but you know, I've learned to leave it up to the ancestors, because you know, you can't duplicate my fucking energy. Obviously, you can't read like me. You are not me. You know, it's unfortunate that there are scammers out there. They are preying on the vulnerable right now that are going through their spiritual awakening. And please use your discernment. Again, I will not DM you. I will not reach out to you. You cannot win a reading from me. You have to book it through my one-on-one. The only other way is if it's through you guys know when I do mini readings like this. But yeah. Yes, yes, yes. When I'm looking for when I feel, then if I get a vibe off, it's mine. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I tell you guys too with your crystal shopping. Um, uh, pay attention to what you're intuitively feeling called to, when it comes to that. You guys, I'm gonna jump off of here for a little bit. I'm gonna DM a Sapphire and see if she might want to come back on later. I know she had said up until 4:30. She might have a little extra time. That's why she hanged out, which we had such a great conversation, you guys. I really love this live. And this is what I want to continue to do, bring people on that I'm inspired by, that I want to share with you guys to go follow and engage with, because they're amazing people. Next Monday, Brittany Lee is going to be coming on. We had to reschedule because she was super swamped from some back-to-back events over the weekend, the Memorial Day weekend, which she killed it with her clients and stuff. But she's going to come on next Monday at 7, I believe, is when we're planning on. And then I have some other people lined up. I haven't got firm times yet, but I'm excited to have you guys, you know, just be introduced to other beautiful souls on this journey that I look up to, that I'm inspired by, and that I've had personal experiences with. Okay, so you guys go follow Miss Sapphire, go check out her links, go support her podcast. You guys will binge the shit out of her podcast. I'm telling you, she's a great storyteller. She has amazing guests on. Go support her and watch her shows on Discovery Plus. Go support her with tarot readings. And they should be all linked in her bio, you guys. But I'm gonna come back on in a little bit. I'm gonna go eat something. I'm gonna DM her, see if everything's okay, and then I'll be back on. And I'm gonna continue the giveaway. I'm gonna do the giveaway with the rings, and then also rings and necklaces, the crescent moon necklaces. So I'll see you guys a little bit later. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining. It was amazing. I hope you guys got some little tidbits that were in alignment with your journey and helped you guys out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was an amazing conversation, and I'll see you guys a little bit later. Okay, bye.